Hi, Chanel from Tips and Tricks HQ here, and in this tutorial I'll be discussing how you can determine whether or not your Stripe checkout is currently SCA compliant. SCA came into effect on September the 14th, 2009 as part of the latest General Data Protection Regulation. This new regulation affects many online merchants who sell to those within Europe and other businesses that operate within the region. The regulation was devised to limit the amount of online fraudulent activity and create a secure payment process for those within Europe. If the plugin you are using to create a Stripe checkout experience on your website is adhering to SCA and is using the 3D Secure Card Payments Authentication, your European customers may be prompted to enter their credit card password or a mobile phone verification. If the Stripe plugin you are using is not yet up to speed with the new SCA rules and regulations, unfortunately, more times than not, the European customer's payment will be declined and they will not be able to check out successfully on your website. The verification steps will be made up of at least two of the following: something the customer knows, something that the customer has, and something the customer is. So they may be asked a knowledge-based question and a possession-based question, such as a code from their mobile phone. If the customer is then able to provide those codes or information needed for that SCA compliance, then the transaction will be completed as normal. If you're a merchant of a website, you may be wondering how you can check if your current checkout is SCA compliant. There are a couple of ways you can check if your Stripe checkout is SCA compliant, and we'll briefly talk about them now. So the first one is you can check with the developer to see if the plugin is SCA compliant. So if you're using a plugin such as Stripe Payments plugin, the developer will generally put an announcement out and possibly some documentation stating whether the plugin is SCA ready. If there's been no documentation put out by the developers, simply email them just questioning whether the plugin is SCA ready or whether it will be SCA ready in the near future. You might need to then update the plugin or complete some basic settings to ensure you implement that SCA checkout. The next way you can determine if your Stripe checkout is SCA compliant is going to your Stripe dashboard and taking a look at the logs. If you've got a heavy transaction website, you might see a couple of the logs stating V1 charges. If you see these in your logs, these are not SCA compliant checkouts. Checkouts that are SCA compliant will have the words payment intents. If you see this means that your checkout is SCA compliant. The third method of checking if your Stripe checkout is SCA compliant is viewing the Stripe's documentation that states a number of plugins that have come on board. While not every plugin is listed on that documentation, there are hundreds of plugins that are SCA compliant, and you'll be able to see them by just going to that Stripe documentation. So by seeing your plugin there, it may give you that peace of mind that if you update, then your checkout will be SCA compliant. The fourth method of checking if you're SCA compliant on your website is asking a friend or relative who resides in Europe to do a checkout on your website. If they use a European bank account, they should be prompted to complete extra levels of authentication when checking out. If they are unable to complete their transaction on your website, chances are your checkout is not SCA ready and you may need to look into this. So that completes this summary on determining if your Stripe checkout is SCA compliant. If you have any further questions or queries, please comment them below.